And then we're done this unit. So again, we're going to factor this one completely. And there was one like this one on, I think it was January's exam or last year's exam. Very similar to this one. So first of all, something cancels out. What does that mean? There's a hole. We know there's going to be a hole at x equals minus 3. And when we rewrite it, we still have 1 over x minus 3, which isn't a line. Did you see all of our other equations where we had a hole? We ended up with y equals mx plus b, and it was a straight line with a hole in it. This one, after we cancel it out, we're still left with a rational graph. Okay? So not only does this one have a hole, it'll also have a vertical asymptote at the non-permissible value x equals 3. Now how do I find the other coordinate of that hole? Plug it in. And so if I plug it into here, minus 3 on the bottom would give me minus 6 on the bottom, and I still have that 1 on top. So our hole is going to be at minus 3 comma 1 over minus 6. Just to start our sketch, we know that there's an asymptote at x equals 3. And we know that we have a hole at minus 3 comma minus 1 over 6. So we find our vertical asymptotes and our hole first. Then we look if there's horizontal asymptotes or oblique asymptotes. Look at the highest power, either with your original or with the one that's simplified, because they're going to be the same graph. So if you look at the original graph, the highest power is an x squared. We have 1x squared on the bottom and no x squareds on the top. That simplifies to 0. If you looked at our simplified graph, our simplified equation, has a highest power of x. And you have 1x on the bottom and no x's on the top, which also equals 0. So either if you look back at the original or look at the one that you simplified, both of them are telling us that we have an asymptote at y equals 0. Now, if we look at our simplified fraction, will this ever equal 0? The top will never equal 0 because it's a 1. This one has no x-intercepts. But if you plug in 0 for x, can you see that you'll have a y-intercept at 0 comma negative 1/3? Now, as far as points go, we actually have one point and the hole to the left of our vertical asymptote x equals 3, but we have no points to the right of our vertical asymptote x equals 3. So let's plug in a value. Say if I plug in 4, I'm going to get 1 over 4 minus 3, which will be 1 over 1, which tells me at 4, I have the 4 comma 1 as a point. And now you can just draw it towards the asymptotes, and you're done. And there's no example in the homework that has a hole and the graph, so there's no extra example to practice from this one. And that is the end of chapter 2. No.